Well, good evening. Steve Richardson here, and welcome to the April 2015 Richardson Law Office's Legal Hangout. Today, we're going to be talking about uh, student loans and planning the repayment process. Now, it's the end of April, graduation's coming up. Different schools hold their graduations at different times. It could be early May, it could be late May. My niece is graduating from the University of Pittsburgh School of Law on May 8th, so that's an earlier graduation. So you have to start thinking about it now and coming up with a strategy of what you're going to do when it comes to student loans. So that's it. So we want to talk about that today. I think I've got my banners not saying what it's supposed to here. Hang on. Oh, that's not working. Well, let's get started. I think it says bankruptcy law hangout there, but it's student loans, and so let's get started. Now, one of the things you're going to want to do the first thing is now you should start planning. I mean, but you need to know how much time you have after graduation, and that can depend upon the type of loan that you have. Now, if it's federal loans, there is a certain grace period following graduation for a Stafford loan or a graduate plus loan. It's 6 months. If you have a Perkins loan through your school, it's 9 months. So you have some time there. With a New Jersey class loan, and really ideal here in New Jersey, so I can really only address issues of New Jersey state student loan programs, our class loans through the New Jersey Higher Education Student Assistance Authority. With those, you don't get an automatic grace period after graduation. At some point, you'll be contacted by HESA, although I'd recommend you contact them and be sure. But you're going to be expected to start making payments depending upon what your loan says. If your loan calls for payments to start after graduation, sometimes you can be the loan can say you make interest-only payments while you're in school, or actually a full payment. So it depends upon the terms of the class loan whether you're already making payments or whether you're going to be expected to make payments after you graduate. With private loans, well, it all depends upon what the loan document says, what the note says. So you're going to want to look and see what that note says as far as when payments commence. But you might want to talk to the loan servicer on that private loan to find out when that start date is, so you know how much time you have to basically get your act together. But knowing that, the first thing I recommend to people do is get organized. It's been a while. It's been several years, 4 years of college. Maybe you're finishing graduate school or professional school, and you've gone right through, graduated college, went right for your MBA, your law school, medical school, whatever it is, and now you're graduating. And that can be a while where you've incurred several loans over the course of years, and you may have lost track of it. So the first thing that I would start doing right now, okay, is get everything organized. With your federal loans, I would recommend that you go to the National Student Loan Data System. That is a database run by the U.S. Department of Education that tells you everything you need to know about your loans. So you'll get a good overview of all the different loans, interest rates, things like that. Balances, the balances may have gone up due to accrued and capitalized interest, depending upon the type of loan. So you need to get that information and find out how many loans there are, what the current balances are. Because as I just mentioned, there may have been capitalized interest during any kind of in-school deferment on your federal loans. Unless those loans are subsidized, those loans have been accruing interest over the deferment period, the in-school deferment. And that's going to capitalize into your loan balance. So you may have borrowed a certain amount of money for your freshman year, but now you're graduating at the end of your senior year, and a lot of interest is accrued over that period of time. That's then going to capitalize into the principal of the loan. So you want to know what's the total amount of debt that you have in federal loans, because it's probably gone up from the original amount that you borrowed. So you're going to want to find out about that. So do your homework. Start looking into how many loans you have, what the balances are, so that you and get that all laid out, so you can start looking at things. With your New Jersey class loans, the Higher Education Student Assistance Authority has a website that you can go to that will give you information on that. And so you want to, again, gather all that information now and lay it out, because there may be many different times when you've a certain start date for your federal loans, another start date for different New Jersey class loans or different private loans. So lay that all out as chronology of what you're facing, so you can start coming up with a plan. And that can be different. So you need to know, how much, what loans you have for how much, and when payments are going to start. So that's the key thing. Now, what you do next is going to somewhat depend on what your job prospects are. Where are you? You're graduating school. Do you have a job lined up? Do you have a job that you've been doing part-time while you're in school that's going to be turned into a full-time job right away? Do you have a job that you've been offered, you've accepted, and you're going to start at some time in the future? Or do you not have a job at all? And kind of look at your prospects. And that is going to determine somewhat where you go from there. And remember, with your federal loans, you have these grace periods. So you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 9 months that you have to get your act together. But if you already have a job, if you already know what you're making, if you already have an idea, this is what my income's going to be, have an idea what your living expenses are, and you may be in a better position to know what you can afford in a payment. Well, there are so many different options for federal loans, and we'll get into that in next month's Hangout towards the end of May. But right now, I just wanted to talk to you about, as I said, planning and organizing and getting everything together between now and next month on your loans. So just by way of example, if you already have a job and you know what your income is going to be, and it's a nice job, and you're making money that would be sufficient to make the payments under a 10-year plan. Because under the federal system, if you do nothing, you will be contacted by your servicer, and that servicer will put you into a 10-year fixed plan with the principal balance then amortized over the 10-year period at the interest rate for that loan, and that's it. You would make those payments if you were to do nothing. But if you are unsure of what, and you might want to get started and say, okay, there's no real reason. I'm going to start work June 1st. Okay. And that's when the job starts. Monday, June 1st, 2015, I start this job. Well, great. Then line things up. You got your rent, you got your car payment, whatever it is, you have your other expenses, work in what your loan payments are going to be, and you might as well get started. But if you don't have a job, or worse, maybe you don't know what you're going to do. You don't know when you're going to have a job. And in that instance, you might look into some other plan, something that's income-based, where the payment might actually be zero if your income is zero. Or you might just want a little bit of time to see what happens in the job market, within that 6 months, you may get a job, and so you might want to take a wait and see attitude towards your plan, and say, well, it's somewhere in between. Yes, I've got a job. It starts June 1, and I have no idea when I'm going to have a job. I've sent out a whole bunch of resumes, and there have been no responses. And then the in-between, where you have some leads and you may well get something by the end of the summer. So you have 6 months for your federal, but you may not have that much time for your state loans or your private loans. So you may have to have a different strategy for each type of loan that you have. So you're going to need some time to lay out those strategies and know what you're doing. Now, one thing I would recommend you do if you're facing this, and again, sometime between this month and next month for the May Hangout, is go to studentloanbook.com, www.studentloanbook.com. And there you can get my book, I Graduated, Now What? A guide to dealing with your student loans. You can download this for free. It's a PDF download. Has all sorts of information about federal student loans, and to give you an idea of payment plan options, things like that. And we can go into more detail on that next month. And after reading this book, if you have questions, you can certainly email them to me, to steve@richardsonlawoffices.com, or you can tweet them to @SJR Law. You can even, if you're a fan on Facebook, of my Facebook page, you can post the question on my Facebook page if you want. There are all sorts of ways these days to communicate. So if you have questions on these, please feel free to submit them. But your plan of action right now, while you're probably studying for finals too, maybe your parents can help you out with, or if you are the parent and your child is busy with finals or graduating, getting ready to graduate, maybe you can help them out with the initial planning process and gathering all of this information. But that's what you want to do. That's phase one, is to get all your proverbial ducks in a row and have that information so that when you start planning out what you're going to do, you'll have all the information in front of you, and you can talk intelligently with your servicer on your federal loans once you have that information. So that's my recommendation at this point. So that's your homework assignment. Between now and next month, we're going to be having our next Hangout on May the 28th. Thursday, May the 28th. It's always the last or the fourth Thursday in the month at 5 p.m. We have these Hangouts. And next month, we're going to get more into detail with the different payment plans and that are available and strategizing in that area. So get the book, read all about it, get the information that you need from the National Student Loan Data System and from the Higher Education Student Assistance Authority, and get all your loan paperwork together for your private loans, and just map out what you got, when each loan is going to fall due, when you're going to have to start making your payments, so you know how much time you have to make these decisions and to implement them. The one thing I would do is you don't want to wait till the last minute on these grace periods. And also, if you don't have a job and you're worried that you're not going to be able to make the payments, don't request a deferment or forbearance with the federal loans. Really, if you don't have that much money or you don't have a job, the better way to go is with an income-based plan, income-based repayment or pay-as-you-earn, rather than hiding out in a deferment or forbearance, because there's really no reason If you get into an income-based plan, oftentimes the payments can be little or no money, and that counts as a payment, believe it or not, going forward. So there's no real reason to be in a forbearance or deferment under those circumstances. But anyway, we'll get into that in more detail next month. So get your information together, plan your timeline on when your payments start, get an idea of as far as your employment prospects, your budgeting, get an idea of what you can afford, and then we'll talk next month about payment plans. So if you enjoy this video, enjoy these Hangouts, please hit that subscribe button at the bottom there to subscribe. We do these Hangouts, as I said, every month on the 4th Thursday at 5 p.m. I also release informational videos, usually 1 or 2 a week, on different topics in my law practice. It might be student loans, it might be bankruptcy, it might be traffic court, DUI, collection defense, the different things that I do. But it's a good resource, educational resource for these different areas of the law as I release these videos. And if you like this video, click on that thumbs up button underneath the video. Let me know that you liked it. If you have any ideas or interest in a particular area of the law and that might be the subject of a future legal hangout, be sure to shoot me an email again at steve@richardsonlawoffices.com. But for now, that's it, and I'll see you next month.